don't have any beef with Russia like that.
Trump's not stupid.
No.
Did you in the process?
It's chess. I don't see us going to war with Russia like that. I don't. By him not supporting Ukraine like that, which I don't think we ever should have in the first place, it goes to show, like, we don't have any beef with Russia like that. If we did, we'd have Ukraine's back, and we'd have boots on the ground and X, Y, and Z fighting Russians. It's not like that. We're not doing that. We don't have any beef with Russia like that.
Trump's not stupid.
First of all, I would like to thank this man for his service. He's a Army sniper. And in the military, everybody's role is very important. Whether you're a cook, you're a sniper, you're a pilot, we all work together as a team to achieve our objectives. So all the respect to this guy for his service. I would also like to point out that he is a very skilled shooter. He has a YouTube channel where he makes awesome videos, and he knows a lot about guns and shooting. I'm not saying that's the only thing he knows. I know he knows more than that, but that's just something I'd like to highlight. That's his lane, guns, at least one of his lanes that I'm aware of. Politics is not his lane, right? Doesn't really know what he's talking about. And critical thinking is not his lane either. You know, some people make the incorrect assumption, that if someone's in the military, they know all about, military stuff. I was in the military, but I wasn't a combat guy, right? So you're not going to necessarily want to hear much about what I have to say about combat, right? That's not what I did, right? If you want opinions about snipers, so let's say, for example, the attempted assassination, then his knowledge becomes more relevant. But even in that realm, he was a sniper, right? So if you want to know about being a sniper and how to shoot, that's what he knows, and that's what he does great in his channel. Now, investigating a shooting, that's not what the sniper does, right? So even when he was talking about the assassination attempt, he was stepping out of his lane a little bit. He had a lot of knowledge about guns, so he was talking about guns. Right, that part of it, how many yards and whatever and what shot can be made. But again, he was not an investigator, right? That's not his forte. And you don't have to necessarily be an investigator to comment about that, but you have to at least be a critical thinker, which he clearly is not. And I'll give you a case in point. As he was talking about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, he says, I don't know what point he was trying to make, but he says, hey, that range that the shooter was shooting from, he says his wife could have made that shot. Now, there's a couple of issues with that. His wife was trained by one of the best snipers in the world, him. Now, I don't know how much time she spends on the range, just because she's trained by a guy who's really good, that value has to be balanced with how much time and effort she put into it. But still, we have to consider, because when you say your wife, you imply, first of all, there's a little bit of misogyny in there as well. The idea that, women can't shoot, right? If my wife could do it, right? So that's part of where that's coming from. But we got to consider who your wife is, right? Your wife was trained by you. You are a really good shooter. So I don't know that it's necessarily a point to make that, your wife could make that shot. I mean, a random guy's wife, sure. But the wife of an expert sniper can make a shot at 100 yards, like, okay. But it gets deeper than that. After saying that his wife could have made that shot, he says with a scope. And then he clarifies that the guy didn't use a scope. So your wife couldn't have made that shot, or you're not actually saying that she could have, because the shot, right, would be defined in this case as 100 yards with iron sights, right? No scope. He himself said that. It was no scope. Yet he doesn't say that his wife could have made the shot with no scope, right? And he doesn't always put scope when he says his wife. He just says, my wife could have made that shot. My wife could have made that shot. But the shot was no scope. So maybe his wife could have made the shot without a scope. I don't know. But he never clarified whether she could make it without the scope. He just said with a scope, right? And again, I don't know what the point of him even making a point of that his wife could have made the shot. But anyway, just not the deepest thinker, right? But the other point I wanted to make here is this is not a political channel that he's on, right? So those of you guys on the left, this is kind of what you're up against. This is kind of the stuff that's come up in the last election, what people have been talking about. Here you're seeing it in practice. A lot of the focus was on the podcast stuff, but here is a podcast which, as far as I see, has nothing to do with politics, right? So you have a bunch of people who are may not be into politics. They're not looking at political channels, and they're watching this. And here's a guy who is highly respected. We are a Hollywood nation. I think that's a big part of our culture. And people look at him as, they connect him to, you think about your favorite movies, whatever it's Mission Impossible or whatever it is, right? Watch those movies with the dramatic music and you see those guys, with their guns and running around and jumping out of cars and whatever. And right? We get caught up in that. I think part of gun culture in this country is connected directly to that, right? People get guns because they feel like they're badasses. Look at me, I got this big gun. Yeah, I'm a badass. And you get people compliment, man, that's a big gun you got there, right? That's kind of what we do in this country. So when you look at someone like him, like, he's the real deal, right? You watch these movies with these spies and people in the military and special operations, whatever, and it's so cool, right? And then you got regular civilians who sort of glamorize that, and they want to sort of cosplay, like you saw on January 6th, right? People, they get these fancy guns and they walk around with their Punisher skulls and whatever. And, yeah, badass, look at me, man. I got a whole gun collection. Look how many guns I have, right? But he's next level because this guy was a sniper, like real deal. He's the real deal, right? The people out there trying to replicate fantasy they see in movies. The fantasy in those movies is based off of people like this guy, right? So there's a lot of people who have a lot of admiration for him. And then he comes on the show and he's like, Trump's not stupid. No, he ain't stupid. Yeah, Russia, yeah. Russia, they try to make like Russia's the bad guy. You think he has any impact on their thought process? Especially considering this is a guy who was in the military. He's an army guy. The army guy is saying Russia's not really our enemy, right? They themselves don't have the critical thinking to say, okay, he was in the military, but what was his role in the military? And how relevant is it to the topic he's talking about, right? Was he a commander who his whole thing was strategy and, understanding that? Or was he an operator that was tasked with taking out targets, not the strategic guy, right? A lot of them, they're not thinking on level. It's Hollywood, dramatic music and explosions, right? They see a sci-fi movie with a spacecraft exploding, a loud boom, no idea that there would be no boom because there is no oxygen, right? They see a guy like this, oh, he's a sniper. Yeah, let me hear what he has to say about war and politics. He probably knows something. Yeah, he knows a lot about being a sniper, right? In the military, we don't go to our snipers for opinions about international relations and, strategy, right? Unless the strategy is how to make a head explode, right? There's a lot of people like this, there's a lot of content like this online where people are watching non-political content and yet they're subtly getting fed certain narratives like Russia's actually cool, bro. They're actually cool. It's just American propaganda trying to make Russia look bad. Trying to say about how long Putin has been in power, talking about him like he's some kind of a dictator when he's just trying to make Russia great again, And then they talk about, people who try to oppose him, they end up in jail or dead. That's just made up, man. They're just making it up. They want us to hate Russia because, why would they want us to hate Russia again? Never mind, whatever. They just want us to hate Russia. Anyway, this is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. Trump ain't stupid, yo. Yeah, Trump though, yeah. Trump is a man of his word though, yeah.